Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're playing some Modern Warfare as always. And today I was sifting through some of my old things and I picked up something that brought back a memory. You know, when you hear something or smell something or pick something up or talk to somebody, a memory comes back and all of a sudden you're like, yo, yeah, wow, I remember that. And so if you couldn't guess already, this is yet another installment of Austin's Story Time. And this story starts off with me picking up an old bowling pin. And this bowling pin brought back some memories of where I picked that bowling pin up from. And that bowling pin came from the Yorba Linda Bowl. If you don't know where Yorba Linda is, it's down south in Southern California. And the Yorba Linda Bowl was, and the property still is, owned by my grandpa. And so, if you know anything about the Yorba Linda Bowl, it closed down. And that was due to the decisions that were made by my grandpa. And when it was being demolished in order to be turned into a grocery store, I got to go down there. I just so happened to be down there and I got to go see the site. And as I was walking through the place, looking at all the old bowling lanes and the marble floor that said Yorba Linda Bowl, I moseyed on over to some old beat up bowling pins that I assume they weren't even using anymore, and a lot of them were going to go to my cousin who was going to take them out to the desert and shoot them. And bowling pins make good targets, let me tell you. And so I picked one up for myself and I took it home. I had a whole bunch of room in my suitcase. I didn't think too much of it at the time. I was about 15 or 16 years old, but later in my life I thought back on that moment, and there was a lot of controversy surrounding the closing of the Yorba Linda Bowl because it had been around for so long that a lot of the locals had a lot of good memories at that place. I'm sure a lot of relationships were fostered, friendships and whatnot. I come from a small town myself, and Yorba Linda is somewhat a small town, and so I understand what it's like when some place that you went to maybe as a kid closed down. It's a sad occurrence. And so thinking about that, and thinking about the decisions that were made, and you know, my grandpa, he even at the time was a multi-millionaire, and you know, I didn't grow up with money. I grew up in Section 8 housing, on welfare and food stamps, so I didn't see any of that money. But thinking about the decisions that he made, and he's a man who, to this day, I respect, greatly respect, and this is not in any way to bash him or the decisions that he made. I do not, you know, claim that I understand what it's like to be in his position, but something that somebody said, the great Michael Scott of The Office said this, and that is people before pennies. And that is something that I believe to be a good virtue to have, and to be a good and nice guy. And when I say be a nice guy, I don't mean be a pushover. And you know, trust me when I say this, that being a nice guy isn't being a pushover. Don't mistake a man's kindness for weakness. And you know, I have first-hand experience with this. I'm a nice guy, and I've been, you know, I've gotten screwed over, you know, more than once because of it. But you know, growing up the way that I did, I had a lot of experience. I was blessed with the opportunity to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes, you know, more often than not than a lot of people. And so that's something I wanted to share with you guys. I wanted to talk a little bit about that because, you know, I think that it's a life lesson that I learned, you know, from that. And I think that I could have made a lot of different decisions, you know, based on a learning lesson type level of what I learned from that. You know, I could, you know, praise that decision, praise the money making venture that went down, or I could think about it a little bit more. And I don't claim to know, you know, how you're going to be judged when you meet your maker. I don't claim to know what's good or what's bad, but you know, I'd say it's a good thing to think about the decisions that you make in life. Anyways guys, I appreciate you so much for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.